follow me. We're going to have a look at all the wet stuff in the house and just to have a quick chat through about how we've protected it over the last decade or so. So I thought I'd take you into the kitchen first. So this kitchen was fitted, I think it was 10 years ago now, by my extremely clever husband, but he fitted it all. And obviously we wanted it to be really easy maintenance, really easy to keep clean. We lead a busy lifestyle, didn't want lots of fuss. And so we went with a very simple design, but also we decided to have a boiling water tap. And I had done a little bit of research into the idea that they're energy saving and so on. And I think some of that is true, but I do know that I love the boiling water tap now. So the one we have is a Frankie tap, which is good, nice German engineering. It just does cold and hot, nothing hot water as you would expect from the boiler, cold water, but then it has, again, because we're in the water sector, we have filtered drinking water because it does taste nicer and takes out some of the nasties. And then the most important bit, which is that this one is the boiling water tap. And that's been an absolute godsend. That's awesome because we now don't have a kettle at all. When you think about the fact that we are in a hard water area, one of the things that most people dislike most about hard water is the fact that it gums up your kettle. And obviously it also used to gum up our kettle before we got our water conditioner in. Now, the nice thing about the water conditioner is that unlike a water softener, they don't change the composition of the water. So you can put your mains water straight into your kettle. It won't look perfect. You're still going to see some residue because with a conditioner they keep the minerals in the water, but they're not going to bond to everything. They'll be a little bit stuck to the element. That's normal. It doesn't build up and destroy the element, but the rest of the residue, the white dusty residue that you see inside a kettle that's using a conditioned water, will be what's called a dusty white residue, and that doesn't bond. It's not limescale. That's the point. And the bit that we all hate in a hard water area is limescale. So we wanted to stop that. Now, that's with a kettle. We now don't have a kettle. Great, lovely, that problem goes away. But we do have a boiling water tap. And clearly, we didn't want this gumming up either. So it has all of its usual filters underneath. Of course, it must have. It has its workings and its boiling water generation, its elements, and we wanted to keep them clean. We have a water conditioner fitted, as you would expect. And what that does is it helps to protect the filters that they provide that we must have from gumming up as quickly, and therefore they work longer, they work a little bit better, and it means that we have much bigger gaps between needing to replace the hot water tap filters. But obviously what we also have in the kitchen is our boiler. Ours is a bog standard gas boiler, nothing very special about it at all, seems to work reasonably efficiently, and it was there when we moved in. But one of the reasons, and really one of the most important reasons that we wanted to fit a water conditioner in a hard water area is because we know that the hard water creates limescale. The limescale bonds to the heating elements really, really efficiently, builds up in thick layers, and then acts as an insulating blanket around the heating elements. Well, whether it was in that kettle that we mentioned or whether it's in your boiler. And the boiler is clearly more critical because your boiler is creating all of the hot water in your house. And the last thing you want around the heating elements of your boiler is an insulating blanket. And it's an insulating blanket which is constantly building up. Because all the time you're bringing more water into the house, you're bringing more lovely, healthy, but lovely minerals in, and those minerals are just going to keep sticking and sticking and sticking and sticking to the heating element. And that's where we're going to have problems. So what happens is, in an average home, the hard water comes in, it starts bonding, and as those thickness of layers increase, the energy efficiency of the boiler regarding its hot water production goes down. And British Water, the stats that British Water give us, say that for every 1 millimetre of limescale on any heating element, it adds 7 to 10% to its energy consumption. Well, just take a breather, have a think about that for a minute. You assume that you've got minimum in a hard water area, say 3 mil on your boiler, that's nothing. Well, actually, that means that every single time you're calling for hot water, or we were calling for hot water, we were wasting 25% or more extra energy than we needed to. So that's the last thing we want to do. So one of the really key reasons for getting a water conditioner was actually to be able to install something that would actually both remove existing Limescale from our heating element, get it back into good working order, get it back using the right amount of energy. So when we call for hot water, it uses the correct design amount of energy, rather than wasting huge amounts of extra energy, because the poor old element has to work so hard. It has to go to a higher temperature for longer to give us, you, the hot water that we needed. So that's what we've protected our boiler with, and it's meant that actually over the last 12, 15 years that the boiler's been in, we haven't had any issues. We've had no breakdowns. We do have it serviced, but we've never had to replace elements or do any of what we would consider the normal sort of maintenance jobs for a boiler in a hard water area. So we ascribe that very heavily to the fact that we have a water conditioner fitted in our mains, protecting our boiler, keeping our bills down, whether they be energy or maintenance, and just making our life a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more easy. So that's the really critical thing about your boiler. And it doesn't matter, in a sense, whether you've got a combi boiler, or whether you're working with a system boiler. You could have a system boiler that's producing the hot water and then popping it into a hot water cylinder. Exactly the same principle matters. What's happening is that boiler is drawing the water in, mineral rich water, and then all those minerals are gluing up round and bonding around the element, and that's the last thing you want. Then of course you move that water into a hot water cylinder and it just does it all over again, because you've then got an immersion heater in the hot water cylinder which is keeping it hot and all the rest, and so you've got a double problem. So we want to make sure as best we can that we keep the entire hot water system as clear of Limescale as possible, and in particular the elements. Okay, I don't think we've got any other wet stuff in here, so I'm going to walk you through to the bathroom. Come with me. This is our bathroom. Our apartment is quite compact, bijou, and so our bathroom is also quite compact, quite small. Now, my husband and I used to run a plumbing and heating business, and so he, as you would expect, designed this and then fitted it for us, and he did that over 12 years ago, 13 years ago now, and I think it's in really good condition. It's really, well, it's a lovely bathroom, but I'm going to say that. Lots of storage, which is great. You need that in a small space. Lots of tucked away storage. That's great. We've managed to lose the cistern, the toilet cistern, in a box, which gives us extra storage, which is quite useful. So we've gone for the rain shower head and also for a handheld. What we wanted was to have a bathroom that was super easy to maintain. Again, we are busy people. The last thing I wanted to be doing is a lot of cleaning, and I desperately don't want to be maintaining things either. Conditioners, look after hard water. Where is the one place that we all really experience the really difficulties of hard water? It's in the bathroom. It's on our shower doors. It's on our shower heads. It's underneath the taps and so on. So the last thing we wanted was our new bathroom being like that. And we've been really fortunate. Now, for most of the years this bathroom's been in, I did my own cleaning. So once a week, I'd go around and clean it as normal. And my background is environment conservation. So there was no way that I was going to be using heavy duty chemicals, harsh chemicals that were then going to go down the drain. That's a complete no-no in this house. If you look around any of the bottles in here, you'll see that they're faith in nature, that sort of thing. We're using, as far as humanly possible, really gentle, low toxic chemicals, and none at all if we can avoid it. So the weekly clean was fairly mild, and then over in the last couple of years I've moved to a cleaner, and she's on the same instructions, so that she's not allowed to use heavy duty Vical. We don't want Vical in here. We don't want a Vical substitute in here. So I'm quite pleased. If you look at the handheld shower, this gets used probably 4 or 5 times a week, and it's pretty clean. this is, I'll also just show you the other one and a bit of a story, but this is clean. We haven't done anything special to this, but we do obviously clean once a week, and that's important. This is the rain shower head. That gets slightly heavier use because my husband uses that every day and I use it just for washing my hair and so on. Now, this does, as you can see, have a slight white residue, and that's the aragonite dust that's left behind with any conditioner. Well, not with any conditioner, with some conditioners. But that's not hard, it's not blocking up the nozzles. If I show you how that looks when it's running, you'll see that it doesn't have that like slightly squirty effect. You know when you've got a hard water shower head and it fires off in all different directions and never where you want it to go? You'll see this one doesn't do that. So that residue is there, but we'll come back to that in a second. I'll just show you what it looks like. So as you can see, I hope you can see all of the nozzles, even with that little bit of a dusty aragonite residue around them, are still functioning exactly as they should, and the flow that's coming out of there is a lovely steady flow. Okay, I'll turn that off. I'm not going to pretend that you never have to do any maintenance here. That would be untrue, okay? So with a conditioner, you will always see a residue because a conditioner's job is not to take the minerals out of the water. That's not what we want to do. The minerals are good for us. We want them in the water. We want to be drinking them. Calcium, potassium, magnesium, sodium even. We want to be drinking them. But what we don't want to be doing is having them build up into hard, crusty lumps, okay? So what a conditioner's job is to alter the water sufficiently, and they do it in various different ways, and some are stronger than others, and that's fine, but they do it in various different ways, and the job is to take the water and change its behaviour so that it can't stick, okay? That's the critical bit. You can keep those lovely minerals in the water if they're not bonding, if they're not sticking. And so what we're seeing on the shower head is the residue that's been left behind. The water's evaporated, it's just left the minerals behind on the surface. They're not chemically bonded like a limescale would be. They're not chemically bonded, and so what we're doing is we can just wipe them off. We do still need to wipe them off, and depending on what system you have, some you need to wipe off much more frequently, every 24, 48 hours. Some can leave you some weeks of time to get round and do the cleaning, okay? But it's about, what's important is that that residue that's left that you can see on the surfaces isn't chemically bonded. Now, we do once every few years, just as a general maintenance, we will take that shower head off every, say, 5 years and soak it in white vinegar. Why? Because we're reasonably thorough maintenance-minded people, not because it's blocked up or anything else. But we do that, but we haven't needed to at all or wanted to for the handheld. So for conditioners, it's about understanding that they are really good tools, but they're not a magic wand. They're not going to stop you having to clean, but they are going to make that whole cleaning and maintenance program infinitely easier. Key bit of equipment that I want to just show you, if you just follow me, we go around here. This is the thermostatic shower valve, beautifully tiled in, all lovely. This is what controls the hot and cold, keeps it balanced and allows you to change the temperature for those of you who maybe aren't quite as aware. But this is the thermostatic shower valve. This changes between the different shower heads and this changes the temperature, okay? Now, in a hard water area, it is classic, absolutely classic, that the thermostatic shower valve, because it gets very hot, will bind with limescale if the water's not treated. So that's how you get, you know, when you're in the shower and it goes, oh, hot, oh gosh, it's gone cold, oh no, it's gone hot, no, it's gone cold. That's exactly what's happening. The thermostatic valve is shifting and not behaving as it should because it's got scale on it, okay? So to avoid the hot, cold effect, nobody loves that. The water conditioner that we've got is keeping the shower valve clear of limescale. Now, as I said, that's been in, 12 years, I think, this bathroom now. We've never changed it. And you can imagine, the last thing you want to do, if you've just got all this beautiful tiling, is to have to then break out the tiling to change a shower valve. So we want to avoid that sort of maintenance. That's really not clever. So a water conditioner does that. Now, I can't show you inside my toilet system, but if we just spin round for a moment, regarding toilets, and this is important for you, but it's also important for the planet, okay? Toilet cisterns, toilets are one of the areas where we lose the most amount of water, and I think we are all becoming much more aware that actually water conservation is a really serious issue. Now, hard water and limescale make that infinitely worse. So if you imagine inside your toilet system, you've got a ball valve and it goes up and down as you flush the handles, okay? Now, if you've got limescale wrapped around the joint of the ball valve, it can't move freely. So that's when you get them sticking open. It's when you can have that annoying noise. I can hear something. It's the ball valve hissing while it lets the water through. So you've then got a piece of kit that's often difficult to get into and needs maintenance. And frankly, it's just a grotty job. The other thing that happens, of course, is that inside the toilet, you get the runs down the back. And you've all seen the runs down the back of the toilet. That's the last thing we want. You have no idea the hundreds and hundreds of litres of water that are wasted by what appears to be the tiniest run down the back of your loo. Okay, so you may think it's negligible, it's just a bit of a nuisance and so on, but it's seriously worth fixing. And again, it's the hard water messing up the whole cistern mechanisms that creates that problem. And so we want to stop that. We want to keep limescale out of there and keep our toilets working exactly as they should, not wasting water or your time and energy. Right, okay, I think that's the bathroom. Follow me. We're going to go and explore the utility room, or in this case, because it's a bijou flat, utility cupboard. Here we go. So we've created a cupboard right in the hallway that's hidden away, and in it, of course, we have the washing machine. Now, actually, our unit, our water conditioner, has been tucked in behind here because, again, my husband being a plumber, it's quite nice. We've been able to fix our stop tap. If you come here and have a quick look, we've been able to make our stop tap really accessible. And as you can see down here, we can get to it. So if there's an emergency, we can reach it in seconds, okay? I would strongly recommend that you do the same. Running water, leaking all over your house, not funny. Make sure you know where your stop tap is. Please make sure you know how to turn it off. Please make sure you can reach it. If not, get a decent plumber in and move it. So our stop tap is here. Okay, I'll put that back. And then the pipe work coming in from the mains in the street also comes in through here. And so we've tucked our conditioner up the back there on the basis that our particular conditioner lasts for a very, very, very long time. So we don't need to see it for a very long time. And this is the ground floor flat. So what we've got in the corner of this cupboard is the mains going up to the other two flats. So in our case, we've had to bring the unit right into the property. For a lot of people, they'll fit their conditioner right back at the entrance to the property because it's the whole house and so on, and they're treating the whole property. For us, it's had to come a little bit further in, but frankly, the conditioner doesn't care less. Same as the bathroom, don't want to use strong chemicals, and so over the years we've been looking at how we can reduce the impact of the chemicals we use washing our clothes as well as ourselves. We've now come through to using detergent strips rather than whole boxes of water. You know, you're basically shipping loads of water around in plastic boxes. We now use these babies, any brand will do, and you just put a little strip in, and because it's all the soap condensed into there, that's all it takes for about 3 months worth of our laundry. No big boxes to store and no great heavy things to have to carry. And this comes in the post, so I don't even have to forget it, which is awesome. So that's the laundry strips. The other problem we had, and I couldn't find it, I wasn't so sure about the solution, was of course, it's hard water area. So you want fabric conditioner. You want something that makes your clothes and your towels and things feel a little bit nicer. And however good a conditioner is, it can't do that job, okay? So we found an ecologically friendly fabric conditioner, and that was great, but it was still gumming up inside the tray. We were still getting gunk in the tray, and it still adds to the amount of chemicals going down into our drain. And so recently we got a tip. We're now moved to white wine vinegar, which is obviously quite cost effective as well, and we can use it for cleaning other bits and pieces, which is also nice as a bonus, but it's a natural product. So now I'm putting this in where I used to put my fabric softener, and it's doing a better job. I like more the effect on my towels than I did with even an environmentally friendly fabric softener. So we've now moved over to white wine vinegar. So I recommend you try that. It's surprisingly effective. So that's what we're doing with this. We don't have a tumble dryer. Obviously you'll have worked out by now that we have a conditioner fitted, and we've had it for quite some time because we believe in this. We believe in what it can do in the house, and it's tucked in the back behind this washing machine. So I'll pull this out so you can have a look. No, I won't. Yes, I will. Okay, so I think that's covered most of the wet things in the house. But one of the items that I think is often overlooked when looking and comparing what system to use is the effect on the garden, plants. We all like our house plants. Some of us like our gardens, not you, believe that from mine and the state of it at the moment. So I just want to just show you something and think about this. Right, so I'm not the world's greatest gardener, but I do like my plants. So when you think about the fact that your water that comes in through your mains comes back into the garden as well, and obviously it's going to come into any houseplants and so on. We've got outside taps. We link those to sprinklers. We link those. We're watering our pot plants with that, and obviously lawns, etc. And if you are looking at salt softened water, you absolutely cannot use that for plants, because we all know plants are super sensitive. They do not want any trace sodium in their water. So, but with a conditioner, we haven't got that problem, because with a conditioner we've just got the same minerals in that there were before, and they've changed shape, maybe they've changed how they behave, but they're of no harm to plants. In fact, one of the conditioners actually is really, really good for plants. It helps them absorb more water, it helps them take up more nutrients and so on. But fundamentally what you don't want to be doing is using a salt softener on houseplants and gardens. What we want is to have good, nice, normal mains water coming out here with all the minerals in it. So that's us. Let's head back in. Follow me. Okay. So I wanted to take the opportunity to explain to you a little about how we got here and why I do what I do. I wanted to share a little bit of how I got here, why I wanted to create a business that was wrapped around this problem of hard water and limescale. My background is actually environment, conservation. I was very fortunate to be one of the main players pulling together the Wetland Centre in Barnes for WWT. That's going back in time, but that's one of the biggest wetland reserves in an urban area, and I'm immensely proud of that. But I got to work with water companies, and I'm not a spring chicken, so I've had a long career, and through that, water seems to have been woven through my career. I worked for Atlantic College. They work on the coast. They developed the RNLI's now boat, and so water's been a major part of my life for years. And I then met my partner, and he trained to be a plumber. No coincidence, not sure, but he trained to be a plumber, and we set up our own plumbing and bathroom business. And we did that because we wanted to bring better customer service into the sector and to set up our own business and be independent. And it was there that we discovered water conditioners, because he was designing and building these beautiful bathrooms, and we are in Bristol. We're in a hard water area, and within 6 months we're going back and having to fix problems. We're going back, and the bathrooms that look stunning on day one now don't. They really don't. They're starting to already look tired, things are creaking and so on. And so we went out looking for a solution to this. And we looked on the UK market, and there's various products available, but none of them really lit our fire. We were looking for something that was long-term, that was simple. We wanted something definitely environmentally friendly. There was no way I was fitting a salt softener. There was no engineer of mine that was ever fitting a salt softener. They can do a great job of creating soft water, and that's fine. And if you are diligent with them and you fill them all with salts and do all of that, that's fine. But for us, one of the main issues about salt softeners, which is why we won't fit them, is their environmental impact. You have to mine salts. You then have to ship them around the world. That's a carbon footprint. You're then putting salts into a machine that then puts them back into our waterways. Now, it's only a little bit, but actually you know what, our rivers have got enough problems going on at the moment already. They don't need a little bit more. A lot of the older machines are also wasting a huge amount of water on backwash. Now, I'm not saying they're not working to improve all of this, but why would you possibly go for all of those problems, lose a kitchen cupboard, have extra drinking water supply, not be able to put it on your garden, have to keep buying things and spending money, when instead you could fit a conditioner? And a conditioner will simply take the minerals that cause the problem and change their behaviour so that they can't stick. And it will do it without any impact on you and without any impact on the environment. So that's why I set up halcyon water conditioners, because I do believe that we can all make a difference. Me with my company, each of our people with their units, saving energy every single day, enjoying the benefits of it, and together, in all our little ways, we can actually make an impact. And I think that's terribly important that we do that.